Hey everyone, I decided I would give my quick little reviews of three films that I have seen. First one is going to be for Johnny English Strikes Again. Basically, this is the third installment to the Johnny English franchise. And basically, in this one, this villain pretty much hacks into the secret agent service and exposes the identity of all the current secret agents, and so it is up for English. It's up to English to come out of retirement and stop this villain to help with Buff. And obviously, disaster comes along the way. I really enjoy the first two Johnny English films. Neither dumb and they're kind of a super parody of James Bond, but I find them funny. This one to me is the second best. There are things I liked in it, and there were problems. There was two problems I had with the movie. Positives, I would say the humor really works in this. The story, it leads up to a very interesting story. I do think that Ron Atkinson can still pull it off. The negative I had about it, the villain. I just think with the second one where the second one kind of really had a real James Bond, and these movies are trying to parody James Bond. Why not you have, an actual James, Bond. To me, the villain Jason just really isn't that interesting to me. I'd say that while this is the second best of the three, it definitely has the weakest villain, which is really unfortunate. But I still enjoyed this. I would say if you enjoy the first two, you'll definitely enjoy this one. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give Johnny English Strikes Again a 7.2 out of 10. Definitely check this one out if you haven't had the chance. Okay, so my next review is going to be for The House with a Clock in Its Walls. Basically, this is based on a horror novel, and it stars Jack Black and Kate Winslet, not Kate Winslet, Kate Blanchett, sorry. So it stars Jack Black and Kate Blanchett, and I forgot who this movie is directed by. Please let me know. Please let me know in the comments below who this is directed by. And basically, this tells the story of a young orphan named Lewis, and he's gone to live with his uncle after his parents unfortunately died. What he doesn't know is that his uncle and his neighbor, played by Kate Blanchett, are warlocks. And also, what he doesn't know, another thing he doesn't know, is there is this clock that was hidden in the walls from this other evil warlock who died years ago, and they believe that it's going to do something evil, and so they have to find a way to get rid of the clock without bringing the other warlock back from the dead. I actually really, really enjoyed this film. This film's not. I don't really feel this film's getting as much praise as it should. It's only about a 60% somewhere on Rotten Tomatoes, and I honestly think it. I honestly think it should be higher. This should be about 70 to 80% because on Rotten Tomatoes, because it is a fantastic film. Haven't read the books. Haven't read the book, but so I'm not really too sure on how much this film is based on the book. But yeah, regardless, I still had a fun time with this film. Maybe one minor little flaw I would say was I wish it was a bit more scary. Really, that first hour, not so scary. That last half hour is really where it picked. Is really what got really suspenseful and scary. So that'll be my only flaw. Was I wish it was a little bit more scary than it could have been. I mean, that's just me. So on a scale of, but I still had a fun time with it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give The House of the Clock on Its Walls an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely check this one out if you haven't. Before it leaves theaters, please check it out. Okay, now we are at this film. Now we're going to be talking about Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween. Yep, I knew I eventually had to get to this movie. So basically, Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween is the sequel to the 2015 Goosebumps movie. And this one's actually not directed by Rob Letterman. This one's directed by another guy. Again, I forgot, but I don't really care anyways. And basically, it started these two kids who are starting up a junkyard business, and they get this call from this woman to come and clean her house, and it happens to be the old house of R.O. Stein. And when they get in the house, they find a manuscript, and they find Slappy. And at first they think, oh, he's going to be all nice, but then, he reveals his true identity. And he pretty much wants to make Halloween last forever. There's so many problems I found with this film. It feels very rushed. Unfortunately, this was on a much lower budget than the first film was. The first Goosebumps movie was on a bit over $50 million. This is unfortunately on about $30 million. So, and to me, it felt that Sony was just okay. This movie's on a lower budget. Let's just rush it out so it can be out for Halloween. And yeah, this movie, I'm sorry, this movie sucks. Honestly, my biggest problem with this movie, spoiler alert here if you haven't seen the first movie, if you remember the first one, R.O. Stein helped the kids obviously stop Slappy. In this one, he doesn't do that at all, which to me just felt really pointless. Again, the ending gives I don't want a third Goosebumps movie after this. Unfortunately, we might get one because the ending gives a bit of a teaser that we might get a third movie. If we get a third movie, I wish that it would go back to the director from the first movie, because Rob Letterman did a much, much better job than this guy did. So yeah, unfortunately, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Goosebumps 2 Haunted Halloween a 4.3 out of 10. This is definitely not a good film. So yeah, definitely skip this one, see the other two, and just skip this one. So those were reviews for Johnny English Strikes Again, House of Clock, as well as Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of those three. What you think is the best of the three movies, what's the worst of the ones I just reviewed. Obviously, to me, I think Goosebumps 2 is definitely the worst of the movies I reviewed today. Guys, movies would be good, movies would be bad, but ours anyways. Catch you later.